Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on one of the most consistently creative studios on the planet, Pixar. We're diving deep into the leadership lessons from co-founder Ed Catmull's amazing book, Creativity, Inc. So let's just jump right in with the big question, right? I mean, lots of companies have a flash of genius, a single hit, but how do you build a culture that produces breakthrough after breakthrough, year after year? How do you keep that magic alive? Well, that's the puzzle Pixar figured out.
And our map for this whole journey? It's this book. Seriously, people call it a masterclass for a reason. Ed Catmull doesn't just tell cool stories, he actually breaks down the fundamental principles and the real-world tools they built to protect great ideas and, more importantly, nurture the people behind them. So, let's get into the core pillars.
All right, so first up, pillar number 1. And honestly, this is the bedrock for everything else. Catmull calls it candor. But, it's not just about being honest. Oh no, it goes way, way deeper than that.
So what's the big idea here? The goal is to create a space where feedback is totally 100% honest. We're talking about a place where anyone, from an intern to the director, can give feedback on an idea without being terrified of what happens next. The trick is to separate the idea from the person. The critique isn't about you, it's about making the project, the movie, the thing better. But that's way easier said than done, so Pixar built a specific tool to make it happen.
And this is the fascinating part, right? Pixar didn't just put up a poster that said, "Be honest and hope for the best." Nope. They engineered a system for it, and they called it the Brain Trust. It's basically a meeting where a director shows their work in progress to a group of trusted peers. And in that room, your job title, your seniority, it all goes out the window. It is all about solving the problem on the screen. So how does this brain trust actually work? It's a pretty simple 3-step dance. But step 3, man, that's where the real magic is. The brain trust gives incredibly direct, sometimes really tough notes. But, and you gotta get this part, they have zero authority. The director is completely free to use the feedback or totally ignore it. This makes sure that the feedback is a gift, not an order, and that is what builds the trust you need for real candor. Okay, so when you have that level of honesty, it naturally flows into our second pillar, and this is a big one, something that makes most companies completely freak out, embracing failure. And not just, tolerating it, but actually seeing it as essential. So let's ask the question, what role does failure really play in a successful company? In most places, the answer is pretty simple. It's a bad thing. You avoid it at all costs. It's a sign you messed up. But what if that's the absolute wrong way to think about it? And right here, this is the huge mind flip that Pixar made. For them, failure isn't a bug. It's a feature of being creative. Think about it. Every single one of their amazing movies, they all started out as a mess, a complete disaster. Failure is just the process of figuring out what doesn't work so you can finally discover what does. It's going to happen anyway, so you might as well get really good at it.
Now, hold on. This doesn't mean it's just total chaos, right? It's not a free-for-all. Catmull makes it super clear this is about productive failure. And that takes balance. You have to give your teams the safety to experiment and take risks, but it has to be inside a structure that keeps everything moving forward. It's this perfect marriage of wild imagination and disciplined process.
And that structure, that balance, it leads us right into our third and final pillar, which honestly flips the whole idea of leadership on its head.
So let's really stop and think about this for a second. In a super creative place, what is a leader's real job? Is it to come up with all the brilliant ideas? To sign off on every little thing? Is it to direct all the work? At Pixar, the answer is nope. It's something else entirely. You know the old model, right? The leader as the controller. The puppet master pulling all the strings and dictating how things should be. The Pixar model is the leader as the enabler. Their job isn't to do the creating, it's to create the conditions for others to do their best work. They're like a shield for the entire creative team.
So what does an enabler leader actually do? Well, they're basically a human shield. They're the ones fighting off the soul-crushing bureaucracy and politics that kill new ideas. They empower their people to make decisions and own them. Their number one job is building trust, which lets their team feel autonomous and accountable. The whole point is for them to find all the hidden obstacles and just get them out of the way.
So, okay, let's put it all together. When you combine these 3 big ideas, candor, productive failure, and this idea of enabling leadership, you don't just get a bunch of nice-sounding corporate values. No, you get a system, a real, living, breathing engine for creativity.
And you can see exactly how all the gears lock into place, right? The enabler leader creates safety. That safety makes it okay to fail productively, which is how you innovate. And the fuel that makes that whole engine run? That's candor, where ideas are constantly stress tested without anyone feeling attacked. See how each piece is totally essential? Take one out and the whole thing just sputters and dies.
And that brings us to a final thought, a challenge really for you. Catmull's big point is that a leader's job is to hunt down and destroy those hidden obstacles that are slowing their team down. So I'm asking you, what is one tiny hidden thing you can remove for your team like tomorrow? It doesn't have to be some huge grand gesture. Just one small barrier, one frustrating process, one unspoken fear you can help eliminate. What's that one thing you can do?